Hi. I wanted to make a video. It's not an easy video to make because I want to call out something that is near and dear to my heart as a nurse and a healthcare professional and somebody who's been a nurse for a long time now. I don't even know how long, but I graduated as an RN back in the late 1900s. Is that the right way to say that? I think it was like 1996. That makes me sound so old. Oh my gosh, it's funny. But, I became a nurse because I wanted to help people, and I was just really interested in the medical field. I also, at the time, was a pretty conservative Christian, and I think I looked at it as a way back then that I could also save souls. So it was going to be, kind of all those things wrapped together. I've gone through quite the evolution in the last 20 to 30 years of my life as a human being, as we all do. I feel really a lot more clear now. I'm, of course, more mature. Hopefully, as we get older, we mature and learn to see things in a more, with a greater perspective, and just with more wisdom and more emotional intelligence and all of those things. Not everybody does, but hopefully most of us do. And I think I feel like I've grown up finally, somewhat. It took me a long time. I'm just going to be really raw and open in this video because I'm also at a point where there's a lot of growth happening in that very area in my own life, where I can see how much I have repressed things and, mainly emotions. I mean, we are human beings who have emotions from the time we're babies, right? And we are not really given the opportunity to express ourselves openly and authentically in our lives as we grow up from babyhood to childhood into adulthood. And it's just been really present with me lately how much repression has happened in my own, being, and of course in pretty much every other human being that I know of. And so if you go through life without really being able to openly express and feel emotions and be able to process through them in a mature fashion, in a healthy way, you're going to have some serious problems in your life. And honestly, I believe that that's where any suffering or huge issues or problems that we have as human beings comes from. And so I'm really working through that in my own life, and it's a process. I mean, we don't become like that overnight, right? Where we repress so much to where it's so deep inside of our bodies that it's really hard to access that again. So I'm getting a little bit off topic, but I just kind of wanted to give a background of why I think this is so present for me right now. So back to the healthcare system that we are in. And I'm going to be talking specifically about hospice because hospice found me when I was a pretty new nurse still. I wasn't looking to become a hospice nurse, but a friend of mine approached me one time when she knew I was looking for a new job. I was working in the hospital. And she said, have you considered, or would you consider going to hospice? I think you'd be really good and I think you'd really like it. And I was shocked that she said that to me because I'd never considered doing hospice nursing. But after she said that to me, something just kept nudging at me. And I decided, well, it won't hurt to go at least apply for this position. And to make a long story short, I applied and I fell in love with hospice care. I really did. It's a really, really big privilege to be a hospice worker, to work with people at such a vulnerable time in their lives, whether it's the family or friends of the patient or the patient themselves. It's a gift. It's such a gift. And the fact that hospice services are available to people, and there's a Medicare benefit specifically for hospice. I've seen it help countless people. I can't even begin to describe how much and how many patients I've grown close to over the years, and families, and that I know have been truly, truly blessed by these services. Well, now I'm going to get to the difficult part. I have lived in Austin, Texas for about 20 years now, and I am literally ashamed of the hospice care in Austin. Now, I am not saying that every hospice company in Austin, Texas is terrible, because they're not. That's not what I'm saying. And I don't know, there's a lot of accusatory kind of crap that goes on social media these days. I'm not putting this message out there to get anything stirred up, but I think people need to be aware. I really think that people need to be aware of what's going on in the healthcare system and in hospice specifically. What has happened is that large companies have overtaken the smaller companies of hospice, and what they have done is taken the humanity out of hospice. They have literally taken the humanity out of hospice, and people have become numbers instead of patients. And I know obviously this is not just hospice that this is happening to. It's everywhere. But probably because I'm in hospice and I have such a love and a passion for the care that we provide as hospice workers, this is why I see it in hospice maybe more than anywhere else. I know that I have friends and former coworkers and people I've worked with over the years that if I called them up right now and said, "Do you understand what I'm saying?" they will 100% agree. But we are not just numbers, and we have got to do something to change the way hospice has become. And I'm talking specifically in Austin, Texas, because that's what I know. I've lived there, and I've worked for numerous hospice companies in Austin. So I know what I'm talking about when I say this. We have got to get back to patient care first and stop making this about the company and about how profitable the company can become and about private equities and money in the higher up pockets, because that's what it has become. And it really, really pisses me off. Hospice care is for the patients and the families, and not to get you more money in your pocket as a CEO or whatever the hell. This has got to stop. I have no idea how to make any difference in this area, because I'm one lowly hospice nurse out here trying to do the best that I can for the patients that I'm serving and their families. But I want to do something, and you know what? Beginning by saying these things that need to be said. I'm tired of people that just sweep it under the carpet and pretend that everything's fine. It's not. It's not. Nurses are overloaded. Other staff are overloaded as well. People are expected to do 2 to 3 times the jobs of, the job of 3 people instead of 1 person. That's ridiculous. And that lowers the care tremendously. And I have a lot of backing up that I can do about what I'm saying. So if anybody wants to ask me where I'm getting this information, contact me and I will provide it to you. But I want to do something, and I think this is, I'm just making sure the person behind me is not about to back into me. Okay. The only thing I know to do first is to bring it out and talk about it and present it as this is an issue and this has got to change. We've got to do something. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you.